Hi class, my name is Sean Kane, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the epidemic as it relates to heroin and drug overdose in America today. And the first thing I would like to say is if anybody out there is struggling with substance abuse or addiction, there's plenty of ways and outlets to where you can receive help. Please don't take my video or the knowledge that I present in here as the standard by which you make your decisions for your life. I am simply presenting some information in the hopes that it can help some other people out there. As I stated, I want to talk to you a little bit about the drug epidemic as it relates to heroin and overdosing in our country. Did you know that the CDC reported 71,000 drug overdose in 2019 just here in the United States? This is according to CNN Health. 71,000. And over half of those were heroin related. But what is heroin? Heroin is a highly addictive analgesic derived from morphine. But what's an analgesic? That is simply any medication which is used to relieve pain. So in short, heroin is a pain reliever or a pain blocker. Now heroin is derived from an opiate or an opium plant. Opiates date all the way back to, they believe, the Neolithic age, 10,000 to 2000 BC. The poppy plants that opium is derived from, the poppy seeds, are found in the Mediterranean mountains. So they think that, people have been using those as a form of maybe pain relievers going back thousands of years. But heroin is different than morphine, okay? Heroin is 3 times stronger than morphine. Morphine was first used, in our country at least, dating all the way back before the Civil War. They gave soldiers morphine. They would inject them with morphine. It's a pain blocker, and it blocks the pain away. And so as you could imagine, if you're shot on the combat field or in the Civil War when they'd amputate your legs and they didn't have modern tools, this is where morphine started being used. And it was used all the way through World War I, World War II, and Vietnam. Now, I just wanted to be clear that heroin is a semi-synthetic form of morphine, okay? Heroin is mixed with other chemicals, and it's also 3 times stronger than morphine. Morphine is the more pure version of the substance that's derived directly from the opium plant. But an opiate is anything that's derived from opium. Now, as I stated, modern day heroin use can be dated all the way back to pre-Civil War times. They used it during the Civil War, World War I, World War II. And ironically, heroin was actually originally used as a supplement for people that had morphine addiction. Some people's bodies have a higher tolerance than other people's bodies. And this is why a synthetic form of morphine was made called heroin. Now, obviously, there's more than just pain relief noted with this. There's states of euphoria that people claim they feel. I personally myself have never done heroin, but it's affected my family dramatically. My best friend and little brother overdosed when he was 23 years old due to a substance called fentanyl. And that's why I wanted to tell you a little bit about more too right now. Fentanyl is a synthetic substance that is 80 to 100 times stronger than heroin. And it is also derived from opiates. Heroin is generally injected, but it can also be ingested. And I had an example here, something I wanted to show you. And it's just a simple spoon. And this spoon would be used in the use or consumption of heroin by placing the drugs or their narcotics inside the spoon, mixing it with a small amount of water, and then placing heat underneath it. And the heat would melt the product into a water solution that could then be pulled into an injection or a syringe and injected into the body. Something else I wanted to share is the picture of my best friend that died at 23 years old due to heroin and fentanyl. And so what are all these words? I've been talking about heroin, I've been talking about opium, I'm talking about morphine, now fentanyl. These are all from the same family of things. They're not all an opiate and they're derived from it. But it got progressively worse. You know what I'm saying? Originally there was just morphine that was derived directly from the plant. Then we got the heroin, which is 3 times stronger. Now in 2020, there's fentanyl, which is 80 to 100 times stronger. It's so strong, fentanyl is, that when doctors give it to patients at the hospital, they literally prescribe micro doses, which means micrograms, milligrams at a time. that people are taking. Just some quick numbers for you. The largest heroin exporters in the world, the largest one is the United Kingdom. And they export so much more heroin than everybody else that if you combine the people in 2, 3, and 4, the countries below them in 2, 3, and 4, and combined all their heroin exports, it still wouldn't be as much heroin as the United Kingdom exports. And that's not to cast blame on anybody. It's just to shed some light on the reality of it. I think a lot of people have this misperception that all the opiums, they're all coming from the Middle East and stuff like that. And I'm here to tell you I don't think that's true. Just a little bit of Google research will totally tell you exactly what I'm saying here. The largest exporter of heroin in the world is actually the United Kingdom. It's the UK. And if you're interested, the United States is 5th on the list at about $19 million a year. But we're probably top on the list as far as heroin consumers. And I would guess that same with like cocaine and stuff. So the point of my presentation today, as I come to a close, was simply to give you a little bit more information about what heroin is. As we've learned, heroin is a byproduct of morphine, which is a byproduct or derived from an opium plant. And it's used to be a pain blocker or pain reliever, which is called an analgesic. It has become an epidemic in our country, you know, and I can't say from personal experience that I know what it's like to experience withdrawal or some of the things that heroin addicts go through, but I know it is a very physiological thing. I know something using like a spoon as an example for my presentation might seem odd, but in some cities and hoods where I'm from, you can buy just one single spoon at the corner store. They'll sell you just one spoon. And they know you're not using it for cereal. They sell them single spoons. Just like they might sell a single syringe. Just like they might sell a single pipe that someone uses as other forms of paraphernalia. So this, as it relates to heroin, would actually be considered paraphernalia. Okay, now obviously I don't have residues on mine. Mine's not used for that. But I just wanted you to see that I know it appears simple, but it's not. I, with my own 2 eyes, have actually witnessed people that I love and some that are no longer with us use that same spoon just like that to put their drugs in and to melt those drugs down. And this is someone I'll never see again alive because of the epidemic of heroin in our country. I don't want to go into who brings it in or how it gets here and the right and wrongs and the moral values. I simply wanted to talk about the fact that it is an epidemic and it is a problem. Anyone who thinks it's not, I encourage you to do a simple Google search, and you'll see that according to the CDC, over 71,000 people overdosed last year, just here in the United States. 71,000 people. That is my presentation. Thank you for your time today.